Good evening, friends. Myself, Dr. Nidhi Darbari, on My Education Treasure. Today, I am going to explain about the characteristics and classification of the teaching skills. Teaching constitutes a number of verbal and non-verbal acts. A teacher should understand and master the teaching skills to make his teaching effective. The performance of the concerned activity is automatically improved through its learning and practice. How to teach is considered more important than what to teach. These skills can be defined, observed, measured, and controlled by means of practice. A teaching skill is that art of the teacher which makes communication between the teacher and the students. Teaching skill is defined as a set of teachers' behavior which are especially effective in bringing about the desired changes in the teacher trainee. Teaching skill as a group of behaviors which can be developed through practice and can be used in an equally efficient manner in situations other than these utilized for its practice. This is said by Menon. According to Turney, skill in terms of teaching act and behavior. By teaching acts, he means the act to attain mastery, and by behaviors, he means the act which enables to be identified, measured, and practiced. According to Strasser, the teaching skill is that plan which lays special emphasis on teaching objectives, behavioral change, content, task analysis, learning experiences, and background factors of the students. According to B. O. Smith, teaching skills refer to patterns and acts that serves to attain certain outcomes and to guard against certain others. Singh opines that teaching skill is a set of teachers' behavior which are effective in bringing about desired changes in pupils. Joyce and Well says that teaching skill is a particular teaching behavior that contributes to the effectiveness and uniqueness of the teaching model. According to Brown, teaching skill is a set of related teaching acts or behaviors performed with the intention to facilitate pupils' learning. According to Joshi, teaching skill is a set of behaviors, the occurrence of desirable behaviors and the avoidance of undesirable behaviors, both being positively associated with certain instructional objectives or change in pupils. Characteristics of teaching skill. Teaching skills have three basic components: perception, cognition, and action. Perception. Teaching skill has a perceptual component for observing and receiving feedback. Cognition. It refers to the behavior or experience of knowing in which there is some degree of awareness, as in thinking and problem solving. Action. Teaching skill demands every teacher to actually practice his or her perceived and acquired knowledge in an effective manner in the classroom. Teaching skills have three basic dimensions: non-verbal behavior, openness, and the nature of moves in teaching to which the skill belongs. In all skills, there is a coordination of movements of eyes, hands, tongue, feet, etc. are combined in a new pattern of skilled performance. A coordinated combination of sensory organs and limbs result in a body language which is very necessary in teaching. The body signal reduces the monotony of the classroom. In other words, skills are certain specified behavior to perform an act in an effective way to deal with a situation. Teaching skills is a set of strictly overt behaviors of the teacher, verbal and non-verbal, that can be identified, observed, measured, and modified. Identifiable. Teaching skill can be identified by analyzing teaching behaviors. Observable. Teaching skill can be observed, and this is the reason that they have been identified. Trainable. We can train teacher trainees in using the skills which can be developed through instructions and training. Measurable. Teaching skills can be measured by simple observation by making observation schedule and checklists. Classification of teaching skills. A student teacher during practice of teaching requires to practice teaching skills firstly in micro lesson in micro teaching setup, then he or she should practice teaching skills in macro teaching setup. To attain the mastery on the components of teaching skills, a student trainee needs to understand the different stages of teaching and determine at what stage which skill is applicable. Professor Uday Shankar, in his book entitled Indian Teacher Education, has aptly described that a student trainee needs to understand the stages of teaching: pre-active, active, and post-active. During the first stage, that is the pre-active stage of the lesson, a student trainee requires to use the following planning skills. Planning skills include the skill of writing instructional objectives, selecting the content of the lesson, and organizing the content and selecting the audiovisual aids. During the second stage, that is the active stage of the lesson, a student teacher needs to use the following skills: creating set for introducing the lesson and introducing the lesson. During the third stage, that is the post-active stage of the lesson, a student teacher needs to use the following skills of presentation skills in 4 stages. Questioning skill. Questioning skill includes structuring classroom questions, fluency in asking questions, probing questions, question delivery and distribution, the use of higher order questions, divergent questions, convergent questions, and response management. Presentation stage. The presentation still includes introducing a lesson or pacing the lesson, lecturing, explaining the lesson, giving examples, discussing, demonstrating, illustration with examples, drilling, and use of blackboard and other teaching aids. In teaching aids, using teaching aids, using blackboards, stimulus variation, silence and non-verbal cues, and reinforcement. If you found the video to be informative and interesting, I request you all to please give a like to the video to motivate me, share it with others, and subscribe it so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get a notification. Management skills. Managerial skills include management and maintaining discipline, probing students' participation, recognizing attending behavior, and skill of class management. Developing listening skills. A teacher educator requires to inculcate the ability to listen among its students. Effective listening by the students help a teacher to teach effectively. In developing listening skills among students, a teacher needs to follow the following steps. The students should attend the class with an active brain, one that is prepared to listen and respond. They should sit close to the teacher to avoid distraction. They should avoid sitting near distracting classmates. They should sit up straight so they can stay comfortable during the entire lecture. The student assess the important points of a lecture by observing the teacher's body language, facial expression, and tone of voice. Motivational skills. These skills include encouraging students, set induction, and establishing rapport. The skill of small group instruction includes programs and individually instructing, guiding, and counseling. Developing students' thinking includes developing thinking, reasoning, problem solving, creativity, and self-expression. During the fourth stage of the lesson, a teacher trainee needs to use the following skills, also known as evaluation skill. The skills used at this stage of the lesson are achieving closure, planning repetition, giving assignments, evaluating the student's progress, diagnosing the student's difficulties, and providing remedial measures. Thank you very much for patiently watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe.